Welcome back to From House to Home.
For our next segment in From House to Home, let's join Dennis and Cody Chamberlain with Eastern Washington Home Inspections. They'll help to explain for us things to look for when buying a home.
There's a lot of things we look for on the outside of a home. One of the things we're going to be looking for is make sure we don't have conducive debris laying around the house. Conducive debris could attract wood-destroying organisms, and that is not something any house wants. We're going to be looking for what style of foundation we have. Now this foundation is pretty deceiving. It's not actually block. This is a veneer that they put up over the structure. We'll be looking for sealing. Now here, right here, there's nothing. Let's scoot over here. Here we go. We can see that we've got some cracked sealants here. We want to keep the exterior of our home sealed really well so that we don't have water sneaking into that structure anywhere, as well as making sure we keep everything pretty well painted. Paint protects the wood in your house from the weather, and there's nothing more destructive to a house than water. We'll also be looking for obvious mechanical damage on the exterior of the home. There's none immediately here at hand, but you'll always find some. Now, if we pan in here, you can see we have a little bit of rot directly under this window. We're going to call out any wood to earth contact because wood to earth causes that rot. We want a good gap. 6 inches would be our ideal gap, but we can't achieve that on every home. We'll also be looking at the exterior screens and windows for broken windows and or torn screens. And then one of the biggest culprits to siding damage is vegetation contact. When you have plants against the side of your home, that siding cannot dry properly, nor can the water itself be hit by the sun, evaporation. It'll also give WDOs a path to the structure. The carpenter ants and termites will actually travel from the plant to the house and cause damage.
Here we're going to talk a little bit about porches and stoops. And right here we can see one very common thing that we see in our inspection is we have a set of stairs, concrete steps coming up. These are actually in a deteriorated condition, which we would be noting in our report. But probably the primary thing here is a safety concern. There is no safety rails on this. And this inspector can tell you as age starts coming on to us, those safety rails become more important. So we're going to recommend on this one that we put in new safety rails with balusters and everything. Let's do it to modern standards and let's get them in place. Then we're also going to be looking at the stoops are usually concrete and they're smaller. This one could actually be considered a porch or a stoop. And you know, the cracked concrete, we're going to be noting that. What we would like to see whenever we see cracks in the concrete, we'd like to see them sealed to keep further moisture penetration from hitting them. In the wintertime, that moisture can get into those cracks and freeze, break, and it'll keep expanding them. So that's not desirable. And then one of the other things we'll be doing is we're looking at our railings. This porch is actually above 30 inches, so it needs to have railings, and it does. However, we've got railings that are over 4 inches wide, the balusters on. Okay, now this is an older house. Back when this thing was built, you know, standards were different. Standards have changed over time. So is it really a fault of the house? Not really. But because our clients may have young children or pets or whatever, this could actually be a choking hazard for young children. Over time, our standards have changed as we have learned more about what is needed in order to keep people safe. So we would be noting this in our report and letting our client know that you know, back when this house was built, this was acceptable. But to today's standards, 4 inches is what we want, and they may desire upgrading so they don't have to worry about young children. And that's kind of goes on a case-by-case basis as clients. Some of them it is not a concern, some of them it is. I mean, if you have a young child, it very well might be a real concern. And then of course, when we're in here on a stoop or a porch, we're looking for concrete siding contact. Now again, when this house was built, this was an acceptable practice, but in today's modern world, it is not. What we want to see right here in this crack, we want to see there should be a metal flashing up underneath this siding, and it should stick out. And ideally, that would be concrete all the way up to where this concrete ends. I mean, far as we're talking, the foundation should come up to that point, ideally. Sometimes it doesn't, even on some modern homes, and that's not desirable, because we do find them, got concrete against that wood, it can begin to collect moisture and rot and all that kind of stuff. So, and then also, like in almost any section or area that we're in, we're looking for just general appearance. Is there cracked paint? You know, do we have, like here, screws holding up boards? You know, as long as it's in pretty good condition, you know, a brand new house, we might note, you know, that there was screws and everything there. But on a house this age, we probably wouldn't. It would be just fine.
You're watching From House to Home. We'll be right back.